Chapter 8. The Mind and the Intuition. The intellectual man lives in his head with its 7 portals. The brain is made in order to elaborate thought, yet it is not thought. The brain is nothing else but an instrument of the mental body. The mental body is a material organism, yet it is not the physical organism. The mental body has its ultrabiology and its internal pathology, which is completely unknown to the present men of science. The mental body is enveloped by a silken membrane, which protects it and keeps it in line with the cerebrum spinal nervous system. This covering is the silver shield of the mental body. Such a shield is completely covered by certain truncated cones. These are called modules, which are the senses of the mental body. One among these sensorial centers of the mental body permits this body to manipulate the individual and universal seminal currents. There also exists in our mental body certain senses which allow us to receive the wisdom from distinct stars. The lower counterpart of our shield forms the convolutions of the brain. The mental body has an atomic nucleus, which serves as its base. Such a nucleus is the master atom of the mind. This master atom contains the whole wisdom of nature. Whosoever learns how to be in communication with such an atom through meditation will be taught and instructed upon the cosmic wisdom, since this atom is a sage. This master atom resides in our seminal system. By practicing sexual magic, this atom rises towards our head and then illuminates us in the world of the mind. The silver shield shines like gold when we practice sexual magic because millions of transformation atoms of high voltage cover it and totally transform it. Hence, the awakening of the consciousness and the aristocracy of intelligence truly arrive. Then indeed we can talk of having mental erudition and transformable ethics. How can we talk of human sublimation, current achievement, and of immediate results, without possessing solid mental erudition? Are perhaps the intimate existent relationships between sexuality and the mind known? The psychoanalysis of Sigmund Freud should be studied in order to know the first notions of sexuality in relation with the mind. Some believe that by playing sports, riding horses, or by selecting other sensations, they will get that which pompously is called the most new conceptions, mental erudition, aristocracy of intelligence, and spiritual rebirth. How can an individual degenerate by the morbidity of carnal passion talk of having a methodical life and complete attention? How can an individual whose mental body still has not been transformed by the transformation atoms talk about associations of ideas and of longings? How can someone who has yet to have the master atom on his throne talk of having mental expansion? How can the oversexed person talk of having a creative mind? Do they not know that the thoughts which are not penetrated by the determinative energy of nature, sexual energy, become disintegrated? Do they ignore that the determinative energy is the sexual force? How can an individual whose pineal gland is atrophied because of fornication talk of having courage, willpower, and triumph? Is it perhaps that the intimate existent relationship between the pineal gland and the sexual glands is unknown, and also because the pineal gland is the messenger of the center of thought? How can an individual whose brain is weakened because of the vice of coitus talk of mental concentration? How can an individual who has not re-encountered himself, and who has become far away from his intimate due to black magic talk about personal satisfaction and of being sufficient in oneself? How can a weak soul be sufficient in oneself? Did they not realize that the souls who are far away from the intimate are weak souls? The mind is divided into the concrete mind and the abstract mind. One thing is the critic of practical reasoning and another is the critic of pure reasoning. The contextual concepts which belong to the critic of practical reasoning are based upon experiences of external sensorial perceptions. Yet, the contextual concepts which belong to the critic of pure reasoning are nourished with prompt ideas and intuition. The philosophy of Mr. Immanuel Kant, the great philosopher from Königsberg, is totally ignored. Therefore, the systems of control and of selection of sensations only yearn for enslaving the disciples of the critic of practical reasoning, and the disciples of the inferior mind and concrete mind. Those systems are nothing else but pure and legitimate black magic. The desired outcome of such systems is to convert the disciple into a slave of the exterior sensations and into a black magician. The Brahmavidya is the mind of the intimate. The mind of the intimate becomes the fruit or extract of all of the experiences acquired with the mental body. The Brahmavidya becomes the aureole body of victory mentioned in the book The Dayspring of Youth. One thing is the mind as a mind and another thing is the mind as an instrument. The great cosmic illuminations are the outcome of the momentous unions of Brahmavidya with the mental body. Thus, the soul united with its intimate is submerged within the great soul of the world, within Emerson's supersoul, and perceives all of the macrocosmic marvels. Yet, in order to achieve these marvels, the opening of the eye of Dagma is necessary. This eye is the intuition. The one who is already intuitive is so because he has a specially constructed mental body. The nucleus from such a mind is a circle of a resplendent violet color. Within the book Azag, the mind, which is thus organized, is called a demiorphia. A demiorphla person does not bend himself before the potencies of evil, neither is he a slave of Maya, illusion. Whosoever wants to study the book of Oriental wisdom entitled Azag, has first of all to submit himself to great and terrible initiatic ordeals. I received this book from the hands of the authentic master of wisdom Ch.8, Ch.8. So, the system of selecting sensations and piercing the mind with controls and more mind controls every day only achieves to enslave the disciple to his animal mind and to his no less fatalistic intellect. All of this is nothing else but black magic. The only thing which is achieved with these tenebrous teachings is the total separation of the monad and the personality. Hence, the person ends up despising his monad and rendering cult to his guardian of the threshold, to his internal beast. One thing is the reasoning and another thing is the intuition. The reasoning only nourishes itself with the external sensorial perceptions. By means of the senses it perceives or receives the impressions and then produces the sensations. Thus, the reasoning ends up being negative and limited. The reasoning person believes that he can attain the truth through the struggle of antithesis, but this only divides the mind and incapacitates it to comprehend the truth. The intuitive person only knows how to listen to the voice of the silence. Thus, within his serene mind, the eternal truths of life are reflected with splendid beauty. The reasoning person converts his mind into a battlefield filled with prejudices, fears, anxieties, fanaticism, theories, and his conclusions are always favorable to him. Yet, such a turbulent lake can never reflect the sun of truth. The mind of the intuitive one serenely and silently flows very far away from the black struggle of antithesis, and from the storm of exclusivity. The mind of the reasoner is like a ship that only knows how to change from harbors. From these harbors, which are called schools, theories, religions, political parties, etc., he acts and reacts with the already established precepts. A mind like this is a slave of the stagnant energies of life. Therefore, it ends up with complications and pain. The children of intuition, as rebellious, high-flying eagles, soar towards the sun of the great ineffable truths, free from fear, free from the longing of accumulation, free from sex, religions, schools, social prejudices, fanaticism of flags, anxieties, theories, intellectualism, hatred, selfishness, etc. The mind of the intuitive one serenely and silently flows as a delectable, crystalline fountain of resplendent beauty within the august thunder of thought. The mental body of the intuitive one is a marvelous vehicle of the intimate. The mind of such an intuitive one only acts under the direction of the intimate. From this action emerges right exertion, right thinking, and right feeling. The human being who only moves himself under the direction of his intimate in the world is a happy human being, because he is far away from many types of complications and conflicts. In order to reach the ineffable summits of intuition, there is the necessity of integrally living in accordance with the wise teachings brought unto the earth by the divine Rabbi of Galilee. Therefore, the teachings of Christ are the teachings which leads us towards the ineffable summits of intuition. What is interesting is to exactly move ourselves in this physical world in accordance with the wise teachings of the Master. What is important is to make the teachings of Christ become flesh and blood within ourselves. Christ did not come in order to found religions. Christ came in order to unite ourselves with the intimate, our eternal Father. The whole teachings of Christ have the great musical rhythm from the plane of the waves of life, which is the Buddhic or intuitive world. The mantra Aum Mani Padme Jum develops intuition when it is daily vocalized for 10 minutes. This mantra is vocalized as follows: Meas Sisiaith Padme Yam. This is the mantra of intuition. The practices of the teaching of Christ awake the chakra of the heart within ourselves and put in activity the Buddhic or intuitive body, which leads us towards wisdom and eternal happiness. Sexual magic forms part of the teachings which Christ taught to his 70 disciples in secrecy. While we practice the Christic teachings, the ethereal body becomes totally reorganized and its two superior ethers are increased in volume. Then, a certain center, which is formed within the head, descends into the heart and organizes a center for the intuition. A protector net is formed around the ethereal body when we do not waste our Christic force. This is how this body remains protected from the exterior currents. The physical body becomes more fine and also more strong, and even the face is transformed and gains beauty. The teachings of the solar logos operate upon all of our internal bodies, thus converting them into fine instruments of the intimate. What is important is to live these teachings in our practical life. Sadly, many people confuse the cosmic mind with the cosmic consciousness. One thing is the waves of the mind, and another is the waves of the consciousness. The mind is nourished by the consciousness. The cosmic consciousness reunites the affine waves of the mind. The trident symbolizes the triple set of forces of the transformation atoms of the mind. The mental body is not the I. The mental body is only an instrument of the I. Thus, to pretend to be enslaved by this material instrument is the breaking point of stubbornness. The mind of the intuitive one is an ineffable chalice filled with beauty. The mind of the intuitive one is the chalice of the Holy Grail saturated with the blood of the martyr of Golgotha. The mind of the intuitive one is the sacred cup of pleroma, the sacred cup of samadhi, the liquor of the gods. It is the soma, drank by the lords of the mind. It is the liquor of love, the Buddhic liquor, which is the wine of light already transmuted within the igneous vessel of the beautiful Helen. It is the cup of the immortal gods. Helen hail. Hail gods immortals, a toast for ye, in this delectable chalice and a toast for the Virgin of the 7 portals. A toast for Helen of majestic face, and to her I chant my songs under the immortal colonnades of her serene temple. Helen, fill my cup with the wine of intuition. Helen, pour within my glass thy amphora of love. Helen, console my painful heart. I want to drink the liquor of wisdom even if it would add pain. I want to inebriate myself with light and poetry and to awake in the arms of thy love. Beautiful Helen, I love thee, thou art the burin of philosophy, thou art the fire of the arcane, thou art the amphora of wisdom and the longed-for fiancé of the wise. The purple and the gold of ancient Ithaca I place before thy feet. O Helen! I place before thy feet the luxury of Atrida. O noble maiden, I place before thee the Greek vessels. O serene goddess, I place before thy feet all the ancient citadels. O beautiful Helen! Helen, fill my cup with the wine of intuition, pour within my glass thy amphora of love.